What's up, guys? Welcome back to another podcast.
Happy Friday. I hope you're having an amazing Friday or Thursday if you're a true Thursday listener. If you know, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Go listen to us there on Thursday, guys. And if you guys want to download them, leave us a review. That would be amazing.
I'm in the spooky mood already. Just kidding. It was on my only clean black shirt. I just feel black is like my comfort color, guys. And yeah. Anyways, what do we got planned for them today, babe?
You don't have a fun fact?
Fun fact of the day. What do you like? What? Just tell me a category and I'll give you a fun fact. I'm full of fun facts.
Fun fact about...
I'm going to be a great grandpa. Just fun facts.
About Colorado?
Ooh, about Colorado.
You don't know nothing, boy.
Yeah, I do. Well, since in honor of me trying to get into running and stuff like that, a really famous running town here in Colorado is called Leadville. And Leadville is the highest town in elevation in the whole United States that has a post office.
That's cool. Is that where they do the 100-mile marathon?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's called the Leadville 100. That is on my bucket list, guys, before I die. Obviously, that's years and years. And I'll give myself like a good 10 years before I can probably run that.
Holy shit.
Realistically.
Yeah, I can't even run a mile. But yeah, guys, Jonathan's been on his running kick. You've been running a lot. Babe, did you tell him that you're training for a marathon?
Yeah, I told him.
Is there a marathon?
No, it's a 10K.
Oh. What's a marathon considered?
Marathon is 26.2 miles. A 10K is only 6.2. So I still need a whole 20 more.
Holy crap. Well, he's training for a 10K, guys. You know what? At the beginning of January, I was like, I'm going to run it with you, babe. And now I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I'll wait for you at the finish line because I'm not a good runner, period. I was a sprinter in high school, but I could never do long distance runs.
Yeah, me neither. But it's one of those things that I really like and I want to get into. I don't know how to explain it. Like, have you ever had a passion that something's cool and you want to do, but you're not good at it? That's me with running. I'm not good at long distance, but I estoy armado. I'm like, I will get into it. I know I will. Like, I just have to lose a lot of weight first for it to be like enjoyable.
Oh, okay.
You know? So
you're not into the like big buff guy anymore? Like you want to be lean?
I want muscles, but not like buff. Because I feel like buff, I'm going for more performance and not as like how I look. Because buff guys in reality, a lot of them can't even move properly. They have a whole bunch of heart problems and stuff. And yeah, so anyways, babe, what do we have planned?
Today we are coming at you with a, what would you call it? A questionnaire?
No, I say like a test of love.
A test of love?
Just kidding.
Today is couples therapy, baby. We had one of these back when we were talking about our icks.
Yeah.
So we're like, it's time. It's the beginning of the year. Let's do a little couples therapy. So there was this TikTok going around talking about some questions that you need to ask yourself and your partner before you get married. And let's do married and before you have babies. Because nowadays it's like either or. Like people don't say, I'm going to get married and then have a kid. Sometimes you have a kid and then you get married. Yeah.
So okay. I would say before you have a kid.
Just before you commit to a person. Yeah. Because marriage is a huge commitment, but I feel like having kids is even bigger because then they're for sure biggest commitment ever. Like for sure going to be part of your life for the rest of your life. Unless
you get like one of those deadbeat moms or dads that just, it's fine, I don't want to be in their life. Yeah. But even then you have to grow, like your child has to grow up with the trauma of like, oh, where's my dad? Oh, he doesn't like really care about you. Oh, well, I still want to meet him.
Oh my God. Can I tell my fun fact? Not a fun fact. No, not a fun fact, but a TikTok that I saw the other day. I was telling Jonathan about this TikTok. So I guess there was this mom on TikTok. She has a lot of followers. I think she's very verified. She posted a TikTok video of her husband being like playing with their toddler. And he saran wrapped the toddler. Like saran wrapped him and he was like playing with him, kind of pushing him on the bed. And out of this TikTok, obviously, like she thought it was going to be like, oh, haha, I would do that too, because he was like getting into everything and like poking outlets and stuff. And instead of getting the, oh, haha, this is so funny, me too, everyone was like, girl, like, what are you doing? Like, cancel. I would never wrap my toddler. Like, you could just baby proof your house. And then she got Child Protective Services called on her and she got the baby taken away for like 2 days, I think.
No way.
Until they could come and like.
How old was the baby? Like,
I think he's 2.
Oh, that's hella young. I thought
know.
when you first told me the story a few days, I thought like 5 or 6.
No, he was little.
Oh, hell no.
And they got the baby taken away until CPS could come and like look at the house to see if it was, I guess, like livable in for the baby. And yeah, and so now like she posted another video saying like we were just having fun, like he wasn't crying, he wasn't in distress. And obviously like TikTok, I feel like is very toxic in a way that everyone was like, girl, I would never even think about doing that to my child and stuff. So then I was just thinking, and then all the comments were, well, now you just gave your kid trauma. Like now he's gonna have to go to therapy because he got taken away from you from out of nowhere. He's 2, like, you know. So I'm like, isn't it crazy that one little TikTok led into all of this, like a problem with CPS and then with your own child like getting taken away, and then now you have to give him therapy. But yeah, guys, so no, think twice about what you post on TikTok, because I was like, how can they get child protective services like called on people, you know? But it's possible. So be careful what you do to your toddlers and what you post.
What's crazier is that obviously they got like her address and stuff from someone that probably knows them.
Yeah.
Or someone that knows him called.
Oh, and the guy's like in the military. He was like in his uniform when he was doing it. Yeah. So I just like seeing that story, I was like, oh my God, you have to be so careful about what you post on social media, because it can get your kids taken away, or, you know, the cops called on you and stuff. So yeah, guys. Anyways, let's get started, babe. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited to find out. Honestly, babe, do you think we got married too young?
Yeah, I would
say.
That's
fucked up. I was going to say no.
I don't think that we got, no, what is it? I think we did get married pretty, okay, so this is how I'm going to explain it.
No, that's fucked up.
So Jonathan and I we were dating for years right before we got engaged to get married. But it's so funny because actually a couple of weeks ago, we were in a circle with our friends and they were asking everybody how they met, how they got married, how they got engaged. They were looking at our engagement rings and stuff. So we started talking about the reason, and I remember like part of me thinks our toxic stage, because I think when we were like in our toxic stage after we graduated from high school is when I kept asking you like when are we gonna get married, like come on, like speed it up. And that's when I think I was pushing you away the most, because you were not ready. I wasn't ready, but I wanted it, you know.
Yeah, I wasn't ready, not with our relationship, but in life.
No,
I had
like
just moved back from Texas.
Yeah, no, this was before. Before the last breakup, babe. Okay. So before we broke up for the very last time, I was like pushing him to get married, and he wasn't ready. Like we were both not ready, period. But I would still like, it was a fantasy of mine to just like get married, because I wanted to move out. I wanted to like get an apartment. I wanted to like solidify our relationship, and we were just not ready. So I kept pushing him away, because every time I would bring it up, he would get mad. Like he would shut down. Like I would kind of just like push you away. And so then that kept happening until you literally like put a stop to me. You're like, I'm not ready, period. I was like, okay. Like that was sad. I was obviously very sad. But then like I think a couple months after that, we broke up for the last time. And then when we got back together, I was like, I'm never going to talk about the marriage thing again, because I remember how like toxic it was of me to just like bring it upon himself. And in that's when you moved back from Texas, and that's when you said that you weren't ready for, what would you say in your stage in life, that you weren't ready for it yet?
I didn't say that.
You just said that right now. You're like, I had just moved back.
But I didn't say that to you.
No,
I just wasn't proposing because of that.
Yeah, because we weren't talking about it anymore. And so we weren't talking about it. So it's literally like 6 months.
Okay, guys, but look, you weren't telling me I want to get married anymore, but any little thing I wanted from her or her to do, because we were like trying to live together, or whatever, you're like, for those that aren't watching on YouTube, she would stick up her ring finger to me, and she'd be like, you can't, and so I was like, sí, me quieres hacer lonche, pues, boom.
Yeah, and yeah, he would say things, and I would just be like, I don't see a ring on my finger, you know. And I would just, you know, but before that, I'd be like, hey, like we need to get married, like when are we gonna?
Now I was just playing,
and now I was just like, I don't see nothing here, you know. And that was just my comeback for everything,
which is good, you know. She was setting up boundaries, because how is she gonna give me up the coochie, alistarme lonche, do my laundry, do all this, and me live off of that and take advantage of that and not propose, you know?
Yeah.
Which is good. Like, girls should do that.
So yeah, that happened. And I just feel like, okay, the way that I always want to say this is like, we are not the rule for relationships. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, maybe that's gonna happen to me. Like, I hold on to hope. Like, we are literally the exception. Like, our relationship flourished by the grace of God and like by the grace of Jonathan going to therapy and like me, like both of us putting in the work to change, but not because I forced him to change, because you didn't change for me. You changed just yourself.
I changed myself, yeah.
You know, so I feel like we don't ever look at us and be like, oh, you guys are goals. We're not goals, girl. Like, we went through some shit. So I think that when we got back together that last time, it was like, do you remember ever fighting again after we got back together?
Hell no.
Like, we would kind of bicker, but it was like good communication. At all. Yeah.
That was probably the best months of our life.
I think that the very first like couple of weeks, we had some disagreements.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
But it was after that, like, our first couple of months were so amazing. So then 6 months in, Jonathan like proposed, and then we got married and then went ahead. So we literally like just got married. I don't know. We got married civilly because we were going to get married obviously through the church, and then the pandemic struck, and then we struck.
Yeah, guys, that was crazy. The other day we were getting drunk, and then we were talking about, like you said, about marriage, and then we're like, wait, babe, like, we went to look at salones. We started talking about grupos and stuff. It's like, I remember we were in our wedding planning phase, and then what happened? And then you're like, the pandemic. I was like, and then with the pandemic, because we're like, oh, that's when Gabby got married, and she said that the salon, what was that? Oh, they had to wear masks during the whole thing. Yes,
and there were only like a couple people. I was like,
hell no, we ain't having our guests or ourselves wear masks while we dance and shit.
Yeah.
So we're like, no, okay, we're gonna like postpone it to okay.
And we just never touched the topic again. Well, now we had a
baby.
Yeah, so we got engaged at the end of 2019, got married civilly at the end of 2019, and then literally that next March, which is a year ago today, the world changed forever.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. Like, I don't think that we were young, but I feel like, in a sense, now that I think about it, I'm like, why was I pushing you to get married? Like, we could have just been living our best life, you know? Like, I didn't need a ring.
Yeah.
You know? But I guess, like, in a way, it also did push us, though, because as soon as we got engaged, like a month later, we got married, and then a month later, we moved out of my parents' house, and then from there, like, everything else started. So I think it was the push we needed, but we were young. Like, we were 21. That's young. But anyways, you don't think we got married too young, babe?
Nah, I don't think so.
Really?
Because I mean, we had already been dating for so long. And
that's
another thing,
also true.
Like, I've never understood when people say, oh, I like right now that you just said, you're like, I'm happy for our toxic phase. And I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I kind of am now. I do agree with you because I think about it from another perspective, because I'm like, we got all our toxicity out and all our like, well, me, like the way I was and stuff before marriage. And now I went to therapy, I got right or whatever, or I'm trying. And then we got married. And then now all our arguments and stuff is about like stupid shit, like stupid, like things that don't have to do with our character. Well, maybe with our character. No, but like, you know what I mean? By like, I'm not a bad guy. They're not that guy serious anymore. Like, yeah, they're not that serious. And you're not
toxic like that anymore.
Yeah. And so, but let's say other couples, like everything's honeymoon phase and then they get married like 2 or 3 years in. They don't deal with the toxicity. They're still like in that lovey-dovey stage. They get married and then boom.
Which doesn't happen
in their 20s and 30s. The toxicity hits, and then the like, oh, well, I didn't know that you really liked drinking with your guys on. Oh, well, you knew when we were dating. Okay, but now we're married. Now you can't do that. Well, I'm still going to go out with the boys, you know, shit like that. Yeah. Which, like, yeah, it doesn't happen. But, I mean, that's why I think divorces happen a lot, because these couples, they get married too quickly, or they don't do the questionnaire we're about to do.
Or another thing I was seeing on TikTok, there was this girl that was like, last year I was getting ready to get married, and this year I'm getting ready for my divorce. Yeah. And a lot of comments were, I would say, from older people, because they were like, these kids nowadays, like, don't go through the struggle, don't seek premarital counseling, they don't seek couples therapy before, like, they just, let's get a divorce, we're not working out, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess that has changed a lot too, because I feel like our standards for women especially have gotten up so high to the point that whatever a guy does, oh, red flag, oh, that's a Nick, oh, I'm breaking up with you, you know?
Yeah.
So it has definitely grown a lot from other times, because like our parents, they've gone through so much shit together, and like they don't get a divorce because that's just out of the question, you know?
Yeah.
But then that's different because they also have like 20 kids. So
yeah.
I don't know,
the mom
girl.
doesn't work and stuff like that.
Yeah. So this is the questionnaire. Honestly, you could just go on TikTok and search up questions for couples, and it's going to be the first TikTok that pops up, and then you could just keep scrolling, and then more and more come up. So the first one,
wait, go ahead and play along with us if you're married, and if you're not, maybe you're dating a guy, maybe you're dating a girl, like really, like don't like sit down and ask them these things, guys, because one, they might lie just to make you like, you know, oh, I'm going to say what she wants us to say. Sneakily, during a conversation, maybe on your way to eat or something, kind of like bring it up, but like in a like not a question type of way, but like, you know, como si me
like
explico?
sneak it in, like
Sneak
a
it in and then see
conversational.
his genuine reaction, because a lot of guys will just tell you what you want to hear or whatever, you know. So
they'll gaslight and manipulate you. But okay, the first one. This is so funny. We should have done this like before we got married. But are you sure you want to? Actually, no, we did. We did. Are you sure you want to do this? And do you have any doubts or fears about making this commitment?
yo, that's like what a priest would say.
But you have to seek you have to go to those
well,
talks
obviously,
anyways.
if I'm gonna marry you, I do. What kind of questions are those, babe?
Or do you don't have any fears?
It's not like, oh, I want to marry you. You asked me that. Actually,
sure?
I don't want to commit. You know
no,
what I mean?
like, do you have any fears or doubts? Do you? Did you?
Before we got married? No, because you lied to me.
About
like
what?
I just said.
About what?
Guys, I have you know that TikTok trend, like I love you, but it's kind of weird that you know.
Oh yeah, no,
it's
you're
like
fine.
I love Blanca, but it's kind of weird that she lied about liking all the stuff that I like just to make me fall in love with her. And once I fell in love with her, and she knew that I wasn't gonna go anywhere, she actually came out and says that she hates all those things.
Like, I don't hate them.
Beat ups.
Babe, people evolve and change.
No, babe, that's just
because why do people go vegan?
I could tell from the beginning. I was like,
she's too good to be true.
Yeah, and then the other day she told me, not the other day, like a few months ago, she's like, I'd rather eat shit than beat ups. I was like, that made me get
not
the worst.
Anymore,
so now I go to beat
have,
ups by myself, actually.
But they have cauliflower wings, so if we have to go to beat ups, like I'll go. But this is another thing that I think about a lot. I'm like, damn, like I really did put on a whole persona for you. Like
that's not fair.
It's not, and I should have. Like,
but if I would have done that,
you did.
Creep.
You did, and then you started being toxic.
I've always been myself, and sometimes you're like, oh, why are you like that? That's kind of mean. Si o no me dices, and I'm like, okay, I could play the nice guy role, but that's not me and me.
Yeah, but at the beginning, I definitely. It wasn't that I changed. I wasn't really like. I think this is why I fell into such a toxic relationship, and I think about it now. I was like, if I knew and loved myself the way I love myself now, I would not put up with half of the shit that I did with Jonathan. But since I was in such like, I was so insecure, I had daddy issues. I still do, but I was deep in my daddy issues, and I was so like infatuated with you that I didn't know who I was. I wasn't like, I didn't have like my own, like I wasn't unique, you know, like I was just a girl. So I found it so easy not to adapt, but to make myself the girl that you wanted, you know, like the beat ups. But also like with the whole beat ups things, guys, I used to love wings. I used to love chicken. Yes, I did, babe. My mom would make wings, and it was like my favorite day at the house.
Okay, continue.
But I used to love chicken, but now I don't. Like chicken and meat and everything grosses me out. So like that's what I'm saying. That's how I changed. It wasn't that I don't like beat ups. It's that I don't like chicken, you know, anymore. So, but yeah, I think I did.
Blanca used to sit behind me and scratch me while I played video games and like, oh, what is that? When she would see me what I was playing, and now.
Well, yeah, because that was when we were young.
I'm gonna unplug it.
Because we were young and didn't have responsibilities, and now we're adults, and I'm not gonna let you play video games all day.
It doesn't matter. I take care of my responsibilities first.
Babe, for a while, you have to admit that you were just playing video games for the fuck of it. Yeah.
But I would, Franco would be sleeping.
It's okay, and then
it's
that
not like
was
you
my
would be there,
biggest
like,
ick. That was my biggest ick. I was like, Franco's sleeping, and instead of you spending time with me, you're over there playing video games.
That's true.
Exactly. You freaking whore.
Touche.
Okay, so the second question is, what do you consider cheating? You know how there's like, well, I'm just texting her, like it's not, but for someone, like texting is cheating, you know?
Yeah, the other day I went to I caught up with an old friend of mine, and he said that like if his girl was at a bar and she was talking to a guy, like he wouldn't consider that cheating. And I was like, oh my God, like, you know, but I'm not going to say too much. She was of a different race, so then they're more lenient and stuff like that. But us, like hardcore Mexicans or whatever Latinos, I don't say Latinos in general, you know, we're a little bit more not so lenient. So
because it doesn't apply
not
to
all
everybody.
of them, but you know, it's a stereotype.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
So I don't know. Do you want to go first? It's pretty common sense. Just not. Blanca and I have this rule, like, don't do something you wouldn't want the other person to do.
Mm-hmm. And just like as soon as you feel like you have to hide something from them, then that's like, that's the bar. Like, I don't know.
You want to go out to the bar with your girls and a group of guys comes over to you and starts talking to you and you talk to them back. Cool. Just know I'm going to do the same.
Mm-hmm. Just like keep in mind, whatever you're doing, I'm going to do. And if you feel hurt by that, then don't do it, you know? Like, don't engage in things that you wouldn't want me to engage in.
But it's got to be even, guys, girls that are listening to this. I know so many, like, it's the typical story where, like, your boyfriend tells you to block a guy. Why? Like, he's not doing anything and blah, blah. And then you ask him to block a girl and it's like, why? Like, you know? So it's like, you know, you got to give the same energy back to your boyfriend or guy as your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is a good one because this is like kind of one of the most common questions we ask is like, you have to ask your partner, are we going to combine finances? And if we don't, what happens when you make a big purchase like together?
Yeah, that's a big one, guys. That's a very big one. Very important that you guys talk about your finances because there can be people out there. I'm gonna target the guys because I'm a guy that are very like, let's say they're the breadwinners. They think they can do whatever they want for their money. They give their wife an allowance if they make her like a stay-at-home mom. They can do big purchases, but the woman can't. You know, like that's really icky. Like as soon as you get married, no matter if your husband is the CEO of a multi-million company, like that's your money as well. Mm-hmm. Because I was watching this, I was hearing this podcast the other day, and it kind of hit me. I was like, you know, when I was telling Blanca, I was like, when. Like, let's say a couple's been married for 20 years and then they divorce and you hear like, oh my gosh, she took half my shit. She took half my money. Like I built this company and she took half of it. Like what the fuck? She's a bitch. Like that's what the guy says. Right. And then the way this podcast explained, it's like, well, yeah, no shit. Like she just spent 20 years out of the workforce, not working, taking care of your kids, raising them. She has no work. She hasn't worked for 20 years. She hasn't built anything on her own because she's been like taking care of the kids. So you can do it. Of course she deserves half of like what you've built because you built it while she was at home taking care of your kids or doing your laundry or doing stuff. You're not just going to let a 40-year-old divorced woman out into the world and like that's
and expect her to be fine.
And expect her to be fine. Like no, like she's got to take half your little like account or whatever, because that's what marriage is like, you know. And that really changed my perspective on stuff. Yeah,
and with the same question, they ask, would you be okay with signing a prenup? And the way that Jonathan and I always explained it, and I got this advice from another couple that I follow that have like a lot of businesses together. It would have been different had we gotten married and you had this already like huge amount of money or I had this huge amount of money, because then I'm marrying you and you already have this. So you're bringing this with us. But when Jonathan and I got married, girl, like we had nothing, you know, we were living at my parents' house. We didn't have any businesses. My YouTube was taken off, but it wasn't like what it is now. So everything that we did, like we built it together, you know? So it's like, we have this understanding that if we ever got a divorce, we would just go straight down the middle, guys, even down to like furniture,
as straight as you can go.
Yeah.
Like our dogs, I take Chai, she takes Ozo.
Yeah.
It's just common sense. She bonded with him first. I bonded with Chai.
Mm-hmm.
She bought Ozo with her own money. I bought Chai with my own money. Like when we say own, we mean it like yeah, like our own. Like we have like we have like a joint, and then we kind of still like we like own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like Chai, I'll buy Chai because I wanted her, and you didn't really want a second dog. No, but anyways, that's like we'll go half down to like the last underwear.
Yeah. So we just split everything in half, but that is a really good thing to have if you feel like one day they would take everything.
But then why would you marry someone like that?
That's true.
But you know what? That's very true. Like, just always prepare for the worst, guys. Even if you're so madly in love with someone, like I've seen so many girls that like get with deadbeat guys, and they're like, they get cars, cars under their names, they get everything under their name because their deadbeat doesn't have any credit or working at all or something like that, and then they break up, he cheats, and then she's fucked with all this responsibility. So I would, even if you're madly in love and you're like, this guy would never do anything to me, this girl would never cheat on me. Like, that's another thing. When I was catching up with that friend, he's like, he asked me and my other friends, like, do you guys think your girls would ever? And then me and my friend were like, honestly, no, but I always prepare for the worst. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say Blanca would never cheat on me. I know that, like, right now I'm saying no, but like, I always prepare for the worst, guys. So I'm never going to say no, she wouldn't, because anything can happen. So I think when couples start being naive, like on social media, we've talked about this. I'm going on a little rant, but the worst thing that can happen is, say I start following someone and I see that they're madly in love with another person. They automatically like start shitting on everyone else. They're like, our relationship is different. Like, fuck you guys. Like, you know, and I'm like, yo, que te dice, you know, like I'm just over here chilling, watching you guys. But they become so infatuated with each other that it kind of even attracts like the devil, like the bad stuff to come and break you guys. Like, if you're testing like, oh, we're so in love, nothing's ever going to happen. You're kind of like testing these like demons out here to come and like, you know, break you guys up. So that's exactly what happened with some people I follow. And it's like, wow, like, so that's why I never say the words like never. I just said no. I never use never. No, but like,
sometimes
you know what
I do.
But
yeah,
anything can happen, guys. Anything.
Yeah, and another good advice that I got, which is crazy, is this is all from TikTok, by the way. It's to write up what is it called? I don't know what it's called, but to get a letter notarized saying what happens if the other person cheats. Like, I would say if Jonathan ever cheats on me, I get all the money. Fuck going half and half. Like, I would never give you anything, you know? So it's like, you could do that depending on, I guess it's just different because when you're marrying someone, you're supposed to like know them, right?
Yeah, and a lot of people get married and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know you were. So
like with you, I just know that since we don't have any notarized papers, whatever, but I know that if like you cheated, even though you cheated, like you wouldn't want any money from me.
No.
You know? And I know like, I just know you as a person and I know your morals and how you are. So it's like, it is crazy to think about like, why do people do this? But it's very good to be prepared. Yeah. The way that Kaylee was telling me, she's like, I guess she was telling me what her and our Marco do is, they prepare a plan for if they're in a heated argument. So she's like, when we're super good, we're on good terms, nothing's happening, we always say like, hey, let's make a plan for if we are ever arguing, where to go back to. So she's like, when you're on the best, madly in love, you're doing so good, that's when you have to plan for the future. Yeah. Because you have clear heads. Because imagine you're like in a heated argument and then you want to get a divorce and then you're like, well, I want this, you know? So then you have to like make something. I'm like, that's very good advice actually. Because it's true. One day you could be madly in love and the next something happens and you're in the hole. Oh, this is another one. It's like you have to ask them if they have any debt.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I think that was one of the good things about being married young, because you were always so transparent about it, but the only thing you had was like student loans, you know, and it wasn't like a lot of money. But that's really good, because isn't it that if your spouse dies, like all their debt goes on to you? That's freaking crazy.
Fuck student loans, guys. Don't pay them, honestly. What, they can't get all of us.
Okay, do you want any kids?
Yeah, that's a big question, guys.
That's a big question. That was literally the reason why we almost got divorced.
That's another reason she, like the whole beat ups thing, you know? We would talk about our kids. Like, yeah, when we have kids.
Well, because Jonathan was
and then boom, all of a sudden we're married 3 years in. I don't think I want kids.
Jonathan was in I want a soccer team. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I want to be a soccer mom. And then like literally 3 years later, I'm like, fuck, I don't want kids. Like, no thanks. And then that's why we were talking about it. You know what, like that's a deal breaker. And it's crazy because I mean, it's good that we had a deep conversation about that. I even had to go to therapy for it, but at the end of the day, look at us, like we have a baby. And it wasn't that I didn't want kids, it was my insecurities about being a mom, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a huge question. It's, do you want kids or do you want more if you already have kids when you're getting married?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Those are good questions. Do you have any?
Ooh, this is another one. Do you want to be in a monogamous relationship forever?
What the?
Yeah, this is some like crazy shit. Or do you want to check in every year? Like, imagine you're married for 20 years and then that year check in, you're like, I want to try it out, you know?
Damn.
That's crazy.
Well, yeah.
Do you want to be in a monogamous relationship
You
forever,
know
babe?
what, babe? I'll let you know.
Shut
Year
up,
20.
please.
Nah, that's crazy. But I mean, that's definitely, yeah. It's just one of those things that it's common sense. Like getting married,
It's common sense you want
just
them.
one person for the rest of your life, especially if you involve religion. Like you get married through the church. That's very disrespectful. If like we got married through the blessing of God and then 20 years later, hey, you know, I kind of feel like sleeping with other
Starts
guys.
buying pineapples and putting them around the house.
Yeah. Upside down.
Upside down.
On their cruise ship.
You know what? These questions are crazy, but it's like they make sense. Like, how often are we going to see our family? Because you know how there's always they always see the wife's family more. They never go to the dad's family.
Come out during dating, don't you think?
Yeah. It's before you get married, so you're basically still dating.
I know, but like, we've been married for 3 years. Every weekend we see your parents.
Ooh, what about this one? So along with that, how often are we going to see our family? Do you want your parents to move in if they eventually need care?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I wish we would have talked about that.
Why?
Because I don't want that. Because I don't want my parents, so why would I want yours?
You don't want our parents to move in?
I would. You know what I want? Ideally, like a big plot of land, and then them to have
like
houses,
a guest house?
like their own little house in our acre. Does that make sense?
I personally wouldn't care. Like if your parents needed help or my parents, I would let them move in. Just because I know how cruel like nursing homes and everything are. Like nobody's gonna take care of them better than their own
what
family.
I mean, like, yes, okay. Now you're making me look all stupid. Like it's not like if my mom was dying, I was like, no, hágase pa allá, you know.
Well, that's what the
no.
question
I'm
is.
saying like I would. I'm working hard right now a lot, and I want to be a trillionaire, so I can make her own little house next to mine. So she's like 10 feet away from me, but not in the house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I'm
like
saying
a guest
that
house, like
a guest house, like you would have to be there 24/7 caring for her.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind it. Sorry, mom and dad, if you're listening to this. Jonathan didn't mean it like that.
I said what I said.
You can't take it back, babe. What secrets are okay to keep private?
What?
Or like the information, you know?
What information's okay to keep private? I don't think any, right? What? A ver tú, dime un secret.
No, like in our like if you tell me things in confidence, like you obviously don't want me to tell other people. So like the information that you
I think like you're getting married.
What secrets can we keep and
can
I not tell you? No, like together.
Why would you be telling other people? That's what I don't get. Like when girls get together and they start explaining like their troubles with their husbands, like you know that in a year that friend's probably not going to be your friend. And you just told them everything.
That's true.
And your mom's CEO of giving good advice for that. And I always take it. When other couples start like bashing on each other, well, he did this, we always stay quiet. And she starts talking and I kick her in the shin and I'm like, under the table, I'm like, don't. Because, friends can switch up. Friends can come and go. And your personal stuff.
Or use it against you.
Or use it against you. So always, guys, stay quiet when it comes to private. Give your friends what they want to hear here and there, a little bait so the conversation isn't boring.
Yeah.
But you never want to expose
I would say like, I think this is something that a lot of people say because obviously a lot of people aren't going to air out their dirty laundry. So it's like you see this perfect couple, right? Like that you come over, you hang out and they're perfect and they're nice and they post each other and they, like they're super loving on social media or when you see them, you don't know what they go home to, So it's like, don't think that because you are going through something in your relationship and then you see this perfect couple, like they could be your friends, your cousins, your family. Don't think that just because of that, you're not like they have a perfect relationship and then you don't, because it's like the saying goes, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, because then if you glamorize someone else's relationship, you're gonna be like, well, we're not doing that and you're not meeting my needs in that, so I'm gonna go and like search for it other way. And I think that's why the divorce rate has gone higher too, because people stop like dealing with shit like that, you know? Like if they see, oh, well, on social media, this couple looks perfect and he doesn't do that for me, so I'm going to get a divorce. And I just feel like girls have less, ¿cómo se dice?
Patience? I don't know.
Yeah, like that.
There's just more options because of social media nowadays.
Ooh, this one's good. What are you going to do if you are falling out of love? Are you going to tell me first, talk to a therapist first, or a friend first?
Well, we just said don't tell your friends deep shit like that. So
I think a therapist is a good idea if you're into that, because I know a lot of people are against
know
it.
You.
Yeah, like someone that isn't biased.
Yeah.
Not the priest.
Yeah, not the priest. They'll tell you to stay.
They'll tell you that. That's the craziest thing, guys. Every time I think about marriage classes at the church, I think about when Noemi told me that the priest was like, if he hits you, if he cheats on you, you have to stay. You have to forgive him. It's about forgiveness. I'm like, BFFR, girl. Okay, and then with that comes, under what circumstances would you start considering a divorce? Because I feel like a lot of people talk about it and they're like, divorce is out of the question, like we're gonna do this and this, but then you're like, well, if he cheats on you, oh no, I would divorce. Oh, well, if he hits you, oh yeah, divorce. So it's like, where do you draw the line, you know?
Yeah.
What would be yours, babe? When would you start questioning divorce? Cheating? And
not even question, just do it.
And what else?
That's pretty much it. You pretty much do everything else to me. You hit me. You don't let me go out. Nah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Be for real.
I'm kidding. Probably like you, like that, like turning into like a super chismosa lady. That's like my biggest ache or fear, that like I can't, if I tell you not to say something, you still tell your friends, or you still like do that. So probably that and cheating. That's it.
Really? Okay. And then, I guess this is another good one, is like, do we agree how often, like, or are we happy with the same amount of intimacy? So you know how like some girls are like, well, 2 to 3 days I'm fine, but then there's guys, their husband will be like, well, I want it 4 days a week, you know? Yeah, so I think that is true, because although a lot of people say sex isn't important, as we always say, guys are so easy. Like all you have to do is like have sex with them and they're gonna be happy. Yeah, you know. So you have to talk about that. Are you? Do you think we have the same intimacy?
No, fuck no.
But you're just a bunny, babe. Like
I'm a bunny.
Yeah. Like you just want it.
But it goes back to like that. Like before we started dating, like Blanca always says, "Oh, I would always give it to you because I didn't want you to leave me," or something stupid like that. And I'll be like, "Oh."
Well, you know, I've always told
and
you,
I'm
like,
if she would have put a stop to it, then, because I'm not also a creep. Like if Blanca ever gave me the vibe that like, oh, I'm on top of her and she kind of doesn't want to do it, then I wouldn't be doing it with her. Yeah. So she was always into it.
Because
which
of
is
that.
What threw me off is like, wow, like you never like made a cara. So I was like, no, you know, she also wants to do it. So
because at the beginning, guys, Jonathan, I literally remember this saying, it was before we ever had sex. Because how long did we wait? Year? Yeah. Before we, oh my God, please nobody listen to this fucking 9
months. No, 10 months.
So before we had it, we obviously would talk about it and stuff. And I knew he was a church boy, right? So I was like, oh, he probably has like all these morals, whatever. And I remember we were texting about like having sex before marriage. And Jonathan literally said, I think having sex before marriage is stupid. No, I think waiting until after marriage is stupid. And I was like, what? I thought you were a church boy, you know? Yeah. But then that gave me the, oh shit, like, is he gonna want to have sex soon? Because I think it was like 4 months before we ever. Yeah. It was like when we were getting into, you know? And I was like, oh fuck, like for sure this guy wants to get in my pants, you know? And at this point, I was so in love with him that I didn't care. Like I knew he was gonna be my person forever. So I was like, whether we have it or not, like I know I want him for sure. So that's why I decided that I wanted to give him my virginity, because I knew that I wanted to marry you. So we would talk about that, and then can I tell them this, or is it too much information? What? How mad you would get? Okay.
Oh, nah, don't say that. That's gonna make me look weird.
Oh, because you're telling me like, oh, she changed so much because when we were dating, but like you're not letting me tell them why.
Oh, okay. You can say, and then I'll say what I was thinking.
About what?
Nah, okay, okay, no, I'm gonna say it. When I was, you know, a horny little teen, and we always would do we did everything but have sex. So I was like, once you're like riled up and you're in the moment, you're like, what difference is it gonna make whether we do everything else and then my dick goes inside you? Like TMI.
Ew.
TMI. But it's like we do everything else, and then just because my organ doesn't go inside you, like you're just like, you know what I mean? It's not like God's like, hey, like, you know, I know you just did this and that, but just because, you know, I feel like God is more
just because there was no penetration.
Yeah, no penetration. Oh, you're going to hell. Like, it's so funny to think there's a guy with a big beard in heaven sitting on a chair and is like, okay, you know, hey, if it goes in, you're going straight to hell, you know, even though you just, you know, did this to him and he did this to you. You know what I mean? So in my head, I was like, and I've always been, I don't want to call myself smart, guys, but I've always like been more than just what the church says. I've always been more than thought more outside the box. So I was like, is God really going to stop loving me, loving us, even though we just did all this behind my parents' back, or when they would leave, or at your house or whatever? And just because I penetrate you, now a lot of a sudden it becomes this big, you know what I mean?
Sin, yeah.
But like to her, she was still in that like, no, marriage. And I was like, dude, you just like blue ball the fuck out of me. Like we just did all this. And then, so yes, I would get mad when we wouldn't have sex before, but it's because I'm like, you're not a little goody two-shoot girl anymore. Like you're out here doing all this with the guy.
Yeah. And even then, like after we did have sex, obviously like he already.
I feel like if you and I were just at the makeout, you know, maybe grabbing butt or like my thigh, and then I would get mad for not having sex, then yeah, red flag.
No, yeah, but I'm saying after that, because you're saying that we would have obviously more sex. One, because we weren't living together. Two, because we wouldn't see each other that often because we didn't go to the same school. So obviously, like when we saw each other, we wanted to obviously do it. But it was even after we had, we did it for the first time, that you would get mad if we wouldn't do it. You know, like if one day I just wanted to like hang out and we didn't have sex, like you'd get mad at me.
I don't feel like I would get mad. Honey, I never would get mad at you like verbally.
Babe, you would literally stop talking to me.
No,
and
I
you would.
But I would never say anything, babe. I never said anything.
You think actions speak louder than words,
okay,
baby.
But I never said anything.
Get mad at me and then drop me off. Wouldn't text me until the next day.
Drop you off.
Amor.
It's other things. There's a lot of things that come into it.
Babe, there's a lot of things that you think I'm lying about that traumatized me that you don't think about anymore because you didn't. You were like, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I'm a boy, so I don't really care.
Exactly.
Like
so it's like, yes, you would do that. And I think that's why, since I was so, literally, guys, like, I cringe at how stupid in love I was. Like, I look at myself and I'm like, girl, if I could go and slap the shit out of myself and be like, this guy doesn't fucking want you, like I would do that because I was literally like daba vergüenza neta, like for how in love I was with you. So I was so in love with him that I was like, okay, like if he wants to like have it every day, every time we hang out 3 times, 4 times, like I'm gonna do it because I don't want him to leave me. And that's why it wasn't because I'm gonna do this. No, it was because of the fear of you leaving, you know. Yeah, that's how traumatized you had me.
Okay,
cringe.
I guess that's what happens when you just I don't know, like, how do I want to say this without sounding like a misogynistic, masculine asshole? Like, I don't know. Nah, I'll just stay quiet. But yeah, it's true. Like that is very fucked up, and you know how they say, las pagas con tus hijos, so that's why I'm not having any girls and stuff like that.
Oh, baby, don't be saying shit like that out loud, please.
This is why we have this table, so I can knock on wood.
Yeah, guys, honestly, I would always tell Jonathan this. I was like, babe, with everything that you put me through, lo vas a pagar, no sé cómo,
and just because
ni
she would say that, I would pay with it with my sister. And look at my sister being a fuck girl, so she doesn't let other guys get, not like that, like no, but like, you know, she doesn't let guys get to her. And I'm like, good for you. I don't have to be there when you're crying and
but
shit.
that's the thing, that you're not paying it with your sister, but you're gonna pay it. I don't know how, but you are.
Well, I don't pay it because I already paid it.
What?
Because now I'm with you,
and
now I changed.
That's not paying your dues. That's you being congratulated and rewarded for everything you did.
That's true.
Oh my god, there's like this other one that they have a lot of questions, but these are like more, I would say like 21 questions. Like you have to play with them. You have to play them before you get engaged, like when you're dating and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know, guys. If you want to talk to your partner and play literally 21 questions, go on TikTok and search up what I said. Questions before marriage, because there really is like the other ones are like, do you want to settle down in the same place? You know, like what if you wanted to move to Texas and I wanted to stay in Colorado?
Lot of ones, yeah.
How do you plan on educating your children? There's this one that says, how would you deal with having a child with special needs? You know,
That's
like those are all. Do you engage in masturbation or do you use pornography?
I feel like a lot of these questions, babe, like you bring them up, right? Like say we were dating and we're in love with each other.
And you're going to just tell me what I want to hear.
No, not that.
Oh.
I would probably, no, not me. Maybe another guy. But me, I would tell, but me, you know, like TikTok. But I'm going to tell you the truth. And maybe we disagree because we have. I feel like we have. And it's just not like, okay, well, you think like that? Let's break up. We just well, I guess stay quiet and change the topic.
Yeah, but I guess
like I feel like we've always talked about, sorry for interrupting you, but I feel like I've always talked to you about how I want to raise my son. And you've always talked to me how you want to raise him. And it's very different. And we just never were like, okay, well, we'll fucking make it work.
Like we just have to compromise.
It's not like we're like, okay, well, you want to raise him the tough, you know, tough love or whatever. I want to raise him like a mama's boy. Okay, let's break up and leave. No, we're not. So I feel like a lot of these questions are like, sure, it's good to talk about, but you know, well, that's are you going to break up with someone?
Before marriage, because we never talked about how we wanted to raise our son.
I feel like we did. And you always had the vibe of how I was going to be.
Yeah, I always had the vibe, but it's like a lot of these questions are they going to be deal breakers or are they going to be compromisable? Like there were so many things that we used to talk about that I'm like, okay, like I can compromise. Like I'm okay with that. I can work around that. But if you would have like told me something like pornography, like you were like, well, I'm going to watch that. That's normal in my life. Then that would have been a deal breaker for me, you know? And then that's why there are a lot of questions. Like you have to really think about, is it going to be a deal breaker? Or if you find like, cause you don't want to find things out when you're already married, you know, because then it's going to be hard. It's like, well, you already married me. Like it's going to be harder than a breakup and obviously more stressful. So yeah, but I think that there's just a lot of deal breakers. And that's why I feel like the divorce is never out of the question. Like that I have always told Jonathan that. I was like, there are those deal breakers and that's fine if you have them, but it's kind of nicer to know before you get married, before you make the commitment, before you sign the papers, before you spend $30,000 on a wedding, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Honestly, guys, you know, fuck all these questions we just talked about. Don't talk about it. Make your marriage spicy. I want all the tea. No, I'm kidding. No.
This is why we get so many emails, and this is why therapists are very successful because, well, a lot of people didn't have the tools that we have now, and then even now, like you have to go to therapy. And I don't know, like, would you ever? Because like I feel like back then, before I was a little bit more self-aware and like about mental health and stuff, I'd be like, couples therapy is cringe. Like I would never. But it's like, would you ever do couples therapy?
Yeah. If it worked for me, why wouldn't? Because I feel like I can tell you, hey, I don't like you doing this, and then you're not gonna, because I'm the one that makes you mad. So if it comes from someone else, a therapist, a license, then you're like, oh shit, now that she said it like this or he said it like this, I get, you know.
Yeah. And I guess it's also good to go to therapy on your own, because I know that all these therapists like give you tools and they tell you why you act. Like I would say, like if we were in an argument and we're talking to a therapist and I thought you were wrong, like they would make me see it from your point of view, but since they're unbiased and they're not you, it'd be like, oh shit, like maybe I should, you know, like look at it from another perspective. So yeah, that's crazy. So would you go to couples therapy before divorce if it wasn't cheating?
Yeah.
That's nice. Nice to know.
Nice to know now.
Well, because I feel like there's a lot of guys that don't, you know? They're like, fuck that. I'm not going to therapy.
Yeah.
Because they don't think that anything's wrong with them.
Oh, yeah. That's bad. Yeah. Should we answer like one DM?
Yeah.
Just to
you're the one that gets a lot of questions. Is that on Spill the Beans?
It's Spill the Beans.
Oh, I keep thinking it's your Instagram.
We got a lot of feedback from younger viewers, guys, on the DM saying like, hey, I'm 19. I happen to be going through the same thing, or like about what I talk about the parents and stuff like that. So I'm glad that it worked for you guys. I want to talk about this, babe, because I don't want to be fake. I feel like a lot of influencers get hate when they have to hide their surgeries, when they have to, now they're an influencer, they make money. Like all of a sudden they want to get like surgery. I'm like, why is that bad? You know? So this one says, hey guys, I have a question for Blanca. Is she happy that she never ended up getting a BBL since now she's a skinny fit queen? Or does she still think of a BBL for the future? Love all the advice you guys give on Spill the Beans. Thank you, girl. Yes or no? Would you ever get a BBL?
Yes. And no, I'm not happy that I didn't get one before because first of all, if I would have gotten a BBL before Franco, I would have snapped back like this, baby.
Yeah.
Like super quick.
So BBLs just stay with you forever?
Yes, because they take
the fat there never grows back ever.
And that's with lipo. Okay, so this is how one of my friends explained it to me. She said, so they take all the fat. Lipo is taking fat out of your body, right? Okay. So if they take all the fat cells out of your tummy, you're never gonna get fat on your tummy again, ever. But if you ever start gaining weight again, but if you ever start gaining weight again, you're gonna start gaining it everywhere else. So
what if you get lipo all over your body?
That's what people say. Like that's why a lot of girls get lipo 360.
And what happens then? Where does the fat go?
To your face.
No, on my face too.
Your legs.
My legs too.
Who would get lipo on their legs, babe? BFFR. No, you wouldn't. So yeah, I would have snapped back so quick, and I would have a big ass. Like I've always been pro BBLs. Like every day, I think about it. I'm like, fuck, should I get one? But then I just told Jonathan, it's because this is my literal thinking, guys. It's always, I want lipo on my tummy because I do have a mum pouch, and I want lipo on my arms because I'm very self-conscious about my arms. But then I'm like, if they're gonna take it all out and throw it away, why don't they just inject it in my ass? I don't want them to go to waste. So I would say I'll never say never. Like I would definitely think of and consider getting a BBL. But right now I'm in my skinny queen era. Like I don't care about having a big ass. I do care a little bit, but I'm like, it's because guys, okay, let me just be honest. Growing up, when I started watching YouTube, all I watched was white creators. Bethany Mota, Aspinova, Kristen Johns. Like, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, it's because you try so hard to be like this creator. I'm like, no, girl, I want to be Aspen. I want to be Kristen Johns. Like, they are literally like what I want to be physically. I've never been into like the big ass, the big, like curvy girls, whatever. But now that I have been exposed to that, I wouldn't be opposed to getting a BBL. But right now, I really am in my skinny queen, yoga, Pilates, era. So right now, I'm glad that I haven't gotten one yet. But it's not out of the question.
You basically yes or no.
Yes and no?
You just said, yes, I'm sad that I didn't get one before pregnancy. But then you're like, but I'm not.
Yeah, because I feel like if I would have gotten one before pregnancy, then yeah, like fuck it, I would have. Maybe now, if I would have gotten one before pregnancy and then I was into yoga and I was doing yoga with this big, fat, juicy, whomping ass that no me deja hacer nada, like then I'd be like kind of turned off about it because everyone in yoga, there's like these slim abs, toned arm like girls. And I'm like, oh, like I want to look like that. So I would probably be a little bit self-conscious, but I'm not opposed to getting it. Like maybe right now I'm just in my yoga era, and like in 2 years I want a BBL. Mm-hmm. So if you ever see me come out with a BBL, mind your business.
Yeah, and for me, guys, mind your business when you see me in Tijuana. Just kidding. No, but I do also want surgeries. I want. Is it lipo or what is it called in your face?
The one here.
In your face.
This is called bichectomia. When they take the fat out of your cheeks.
I saw this one where like this lady, pobrecita, like some people just have really bad genes. It was this like older lady. She literally looked like she had two balls on her face like this.
Because of all the fat they took?
Because it was drooping like this. She wasn't fat. It's just like the way her wrinkles came in as age came in. Mm-hmm. And then it showed the after and then boom, like she doesn't have it. She looks like 20 years younger. And it's just the way her genetics were starting to form, So it's like with me, I really hated that. I'm losing weight, right? Whatever. And it's fucked up that like in my stomach area, like now I look in the mirror and like, oh, like I'm losing lonja, my little like, I'm not saying I have abs, but like going down, and in the right lighting, it kind of looks like I have abs now. But like, anyways, my legs are skinny. But it's like when other people record me, when you take pictures of me, like I've always been conscious. I still look fat because of my face. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's something that will never go away. And I will always have, like, you know, like the other day I came out in someone else's video and it like irked me so bad that like when they panned the camera, I was like, I look so freaking fat, you know? And it's like, wow, like I don't think like even if I lost all this weight, like it's just the way my face is shaped, you know? So like I definitely want to look into that. And after I saw that lady's TikTok, I was like, yep, there's hope. Like you can take this all out. So.
So you would do lipo on your face? Like chin lipo?
Like this, I don't know.
Babe, but I think it's also just your cheekbones. You do have a big head.
So it's like the meat already on my face looks big because of a big
But I think
head.
it's your bone structure. Because remember you say like when you were super like skinny in your soccer days, you still had big bones. I mean big cheeks because you have big cheekbones. So that's just the bone structure.
So
honey.
take out my whole bones.
You can't.
Just kidding.
That's literally.
No, I've seen where guys get like Botox here too, and it makes their face look more square. So not round, square. But I'm really scared because I've seen where like they don't do it right or they do too much, and then you look so botched. Ugly and fake, like Zac Efron when he got botched. But he was also going through it. So yeah, now he looks good. But anyways, yeah, guys, that was our surgery wrap. We're both getting surgery in the future. I don't care if I never became an influencer, a YouTuber. If I was still a truck driver and no one saw me during the day, even if it's just my wife and the dispatch person at the freaking whatever that I have to work at, I would still get my face shit. You know what I mean? And I'm sure like other people would too.
Well, even people like just there's regular people that get BBLs.
I know, but no, I'm saying it for when people get hate, like, oh, all of a sudden you become an influencer, you do your boobs. Your dude's like, okay, because I'm getting money to fix my insecurities. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
even then, like, if you had a regular job, you would save up all that money. I would
still save up or get in debt or credit cards or whatever to do it. Same. You know, because you only have one life. Like, you have to be comfortable with it. So, I'm getting head surgery, making my head shrink.
Have you seen the surgery where guys get surgery on their knees to make them taller?
Oh, I've seen that. But that one has, like, the worst, like, what? You can't jump anymore. You can't.
I feel like you can't do nothing.
You can't do nothing.
Can you even walk
You're more
anymore?
prone to, like, tumors there and shit.
Oh, shit. Yeah. But wear heels. Did you see, what's his name? Elvis at the Oscars last night. Elvis? He was wearing like, what's his name? Austin Butler. Oh. He played Elvis and he was wearing these heels. Boy, just wear some heels if you instead
you know,
of getting that.
Fun fact, and a fun fact 10, the podcast, men were the first ones to wear heels. Like they invented them back in the French era. You know, when they used to dress with the big, you know, with their hair and like they wore heels first. Men did.
So can they wear them now?
And makeup. And during the pharaohs in Egypt and stuff, you know how they would get the wing and all that? Like, men did everything first. But now it's considered...
So then why do they get hate now?
Because now it's more feminine and stuff like that.
That's suspicious.
Did you see... Nah, this is too much tea. Is it tea? What? Nah, I don't want to come out like on a tea. What? So you know the Jero's ex from Peco, whatever her name is? So you knew her. Is she still dating that tall curly guy?
I have no idea.
Anyways, you know who I'm talking about. You know how him and his brother popped off and became super famous too on their own, kind of, for being funny. That younger brother, he has a girlfriend, but he full on does his face like makeup, but like full, babe. Like we're talking like Louis,
concealer and everything.
But like pobrecito, they come from him in the comments like denials in river in Egypt. You know, like you know. Like, damn. But he does it like glam. Like glam? And then he's like, I'm going out with my girlfriend to, I forgot. Oh, he said to, what's something crazy the strip club.
Oh, period.
With her, but everyone's like, girlfriend, like you met, you know, and they were being mean to him. But because it was like heavy makeup, but it's like,
I just
you know like what, man?
I just feel like we're in the times where, as generations keep coming, like everything is being more normalized. Like guys started getting their nails done. And then guys started like wearing eyeliner under their on their waterline.
Now there's little things at Target to hide your like pimples for guys.
Yeah, and then now there's like, so then it makes sense that as more generations come, they're gonna normalize like we're both doing our makeup to go out.
You know? Oh hell no,
babe, shut up! Because one day you're gonna ask me to put concealer on, and I'm gonna expose your ass.
Nah. You know, my mom put concealer on me one time when we were going on a date because I had a huge pimple right here. We have pictures and you can kind of see it. It's when we went bowling. I had my little turquoise shirt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you put concealer on for me?
Because it was huge. And guys, I've always been, it's like when you're spoiled because I've never had acne. So the one pimple I would get would ruin my life, you know?
Well, the one pimple you would get it would either be on your forehead or on your nose.
On my nose. That one came once a year, guys. And
what happened to that one?
Just, no, I have one right here. No, just kidding. Anyways. Oh my god! And then the podcast audio leak because the camera.
The camera's like, cut the fucking camera. Let's go
We're
to
just
sleep.
talking about random shit now. Anyways, guys, we love you so much. Take care. See you next week.
Bye.
Later.